Okay, we're getting started. We're streaming.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to John Lewis and Victor's Academy Go Team meeting, where we will follow the agenda as it had been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I would like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team. Only members of the team may participate in this discussion. Any members of the public present are here and quietly observe. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I am pleased to call this meeting of the John Lewis and Victor's Academy Go Team to order at 5:17. Our first order of business is to call roll. The secretary will now take the roll.
All right, good evening, everyone. Please respond present when your name is called. Mr. Garner,
Present.
Ms. Williams, Amber Williams, Sable Lomax, Ms. Laster, Ms. Triplett,
Present.
Ms. Rump,
Present.
Ms. Haddock, I am present. Mr. Cogdell,
Present.
Ms. Jones,
Present.
Ms. Ellis.
Present.
Okay. We do have a quorum present,
Cool.
Ms. President, Ms. Chair.
Awesome. Our first order of business on action item is going to be to approve the agenda. This was provided to you, a copy, and emailed to you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Nope.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, say yay.
Aye.
Yes.
Yay.
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Now we're going to move to the approval of the previous minutes. We will review and approve the meeting minutes from the last meeting. The minutes have been provided to you. Are there any corrections?
No corrections.
No.
May I have a motion to approve the previous minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor, please say
Aye.
A.
Aye.
all opposed, say nay. Any abstentions, please say abstain. Now we're going to go ahead and move with the discussion item. Mr. Garner.
All right, good evening. Once again, next. So at this point, we're going to talk about some of the data points from our spring map assessment, which again, all of us are familiar that the map assessment is our universal screener that we give to our students 3 times a year to measure growth and to give us Georgia milestone predictors. So we'll discuss this evening how we did from the fall, the first time we took it, to the spring. Next slide. All right, so on the far left side, my left, you can see it says school improvement plan goal 1. And here are our goals by the end of this year, which is where we are now. We want to increase the percentage of students scoring developing or above in ELA by 5%, 7th grade by 5%, and 8th grade. And then that just tells you the numbers. So the first category, I'm looking at the first chart now that says SY 22-23 at the top. Georgia milestones mapping end of grade prediction data. So again, you could see the first table is ELA. You can see where we started. The first time the kids took the assessment, they were at 49% developing and above. 7th grade was at 41. 8th grade was at 48. Overall, 46%. And you could see, the second time we took it, kind of what happened on each grade level to the point to where we are in the spring. So overall, we're about 2 percentage points lower than when we started at the beginning of the year. But it is a adaptive exam. And so, it's not the same as that, questions that the kids did. So as we go throughout the year, it's more content that, students should be learning that's measured. You can see where we landed on the spring 22, which was last year, Georgia milestones. Overall, we were at 40%. Our goal is to be at 45% by the spring, and we were 1 percentage point off at that time. So I won't go over each one of these with you, but you can kind of see, where we are. Same thing for math. Math, at the bottom is reading. I really want to highlight our students with disabilities, and that category is at the bottom, far right side. And what these numbers speak to are the percentage of our students who are hitting their goals, their individual goals based off of the MAP assessment. So I'm happy about the fact that we had 66% of our students with disabilities on 6th grade to reach their goals, and 67% on 7th and 56% on 8th. Now, hitting your MAP goal does not equate to proficiency on the exam. It's simply where you were the first time you took it. The test adapts and it gives you a goal. So by the next time you take it, you should be here. And by the third time, you should be here. So this is an indication that our students have been showing growth throughout the year. Any questions about that before we go to math? Okay. All right. Same thing for math. You see where we are, and I'll just speak to the overall. Overall, we started out in the fall at 47% of our students being developing or above. And I'm speaking, I know everybody on the call is not an educator. So what I mean is when our students take the Georgia milestones, there are 4 categories that they can score in. It is the beginning level, which earns, 0 points. It is the developing, which earns half a point. Proficient is 1 point, and then distinguished is 1.5 points. So of course, we want our students to be able to get as many points as they possibly can. As you can see, it's a lot of work, right? Kind of see what we're starting out with. Not even half of our students are at a point to where they would be earning points, right? Or scoring developing or above. So we are showing growth, but there is, the fact of the matter is that there is a lot of work still and yet to be done around curriculum and instruction and making sure our students are comprehending the standards and then can perform on these assessments.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Is this the test that we had the career day on the same day as the test? Or is it the second day of the test?
I don't remember. I remember us doing something. It may have been MAP. It could have been a MAP assessment, but I'm not totally sure. I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, but I'll make a quick comment because I guess I have to. I think this is showing a lot of growth. I know what the numbers say, Principal Garner, but I just think about all of the externalities, societally and just like in the neighborhoods that a lot of our students live in that have happened between fall and spring, and seeing as though they still pretty much tested still very high in considering the other externalities that they can't control. And so I hope when we do talk about the social emotional learning and we continue to advocate for the things that our teachers and students need, that we really come with the data of like, just in general, what the brain needs in order to test even this well under certain circumstances. So I think you guys did a really good job.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Rejoice. Yeah, our teachers, our teachers are working hard. And for the most part, the majority of our students are as well. It's, it is just, it's a fight. It's a battle that we, committed to doing, and we're fighting a good fight. I admit that I have to do a better job of really celebrating the growth that but at the same time, keep a fire lit under myself to say we're not where we want to be. And so I definitely appreciate everybody though, because they are working hard and we're asking a lot. So thank you for pointing that out, Rejoice. Yeah. Next slide. All right, so next we'll do a needs assessment activity. And we're gonna just follow the directions as they are printed here on the PowerPoint. It says during this needs assessment, we will look at data from spring map administration and identify 2 to 3 potential needs for the 2023-2024 school year. This discussion will help school leadership as they begin developing the school's 2023-2024 continuous improvement plan this summer. Excuse me.
8th grader Jakai Smith, if you're still in the building, please come to the front office. 8th grader Jakai Smith, if you're still in the building, come to the front office.
All right, sorry about that. So I know we don't remember the data probably right off the top of our minds, but the guiding questions in this needs assessment are, what does the data tell us? What good news is there to celebrate? What are growth opportunities? And then what trends do we see in the data? So we'll start with the first question, what does this data tell us?
We're moving in the right direction, slowly but surely.
Okay. What else?
Can we go
Growth.
back to it, please? Sorry. Can we get a visual of the data?
Sure. Yeah.
I would also say because there is a decrease in the numbers, although we are moving in the right direction, there is a decrease. Maybe ask the students, where do they lack? When we do have our data talk with the students, comparing the first test to the second, where do you think you fall short? What is the reason to that? Because it has to be a trend behind all of this, seeing that there is a decrease from fall to winter. So just getting the students' input, I think, is very vital.
Is the test the same? Like they take the same test, right?
It is the same test, you mean in the universal screener, but it's not the same questions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an adaptive test. So, when the beginning of the year starts, they know the students haven't learned all of the standards that they'll learn throughout the year. So it adapts as the year goes based on what we should have taught.
I would say maybe look at what has been transpired from the first administration to the second administration. Is there a difference in what's been said, what's been done? Also, I think the data talks that we've been doing lately is great. So hopefully that should help if we continue with the data talks with the students during their homeroom classes.
Got it.
I just think there should be like a curve. You know, in school, there were like a curve, their grade, that they should add points. I'm serious. Do you know how mentally and emotionally stable you have to be? This is mental gymnastics. So even if athletes have all of the tools and the facilities that they need to perform, and we go from fall when students are just coming and it's a bit more, you know, fresh and new, they haven't started extracurricular activities, they haven't gotten into all these things. So it's like normal, in my opinion, that they would score, but they really wasn't that off. And so they probably add some points in considering that these are mental gymnastics and maybe they don't have all the tools to perform at a top level. That's what I would say for the recorded call of the
Okay.
yeah.
All right, anything else around what does this data tell us? Anything else anybody want to add? Okay.
It makes me question what resources do we not have that we need to get more of? And is there things that we could provide on the outside to the school that you guys don't already have? Like, I know that we have partnerships and I know we're looking to grow those, but like, do we need after school programs, before school programming? Like, what other things can we help bring to the school to help us get to where we need to be?
Nap rooms, massages for the teachers, healthy foods, things that we know helps the brain think and retain information. I feel like we should just use science. You know, don't you think, Roy? It's like we're over our capacity in some of these programs. We kind of just need to give, you know, the teachers what they need to perform at a high level and the students what they need. And these are very practical things.
And also I'm looking at the 6th grade, it says on track, yes. And then for 7th and 8th grade, it has no. So what is 6th grade doing that 7th grade is not doing? So is there something that we can kind of compare to see what's going on each grade level?
I like that. And then also, you know, I think about like a lot of the foundational skills that are required. You know, in a perfect world, we want all of our kids to be at a proficient level, because proficiency just means that you grasp the concepts at that grade level that you need. And so even when you really dig down into it, you know, 56% of the kids were, and that's not even breaking down like what percentage are just proficient. Like we're saying developing, meaning you're on your way to proficiency. But you still, even in that, the highest number, you still have 44%, almost half, who, you know, are at the beginning level. So it is, you know, how can we find more time to really like drill down and shore up the foundational skills that some of our kids may be lacking in order to be able to do the math at a grade level, you know, or at the grade level. And I know we do intervention and things and some of those things of that nature. And we'll see what the results of that are when we get the test results back. But that just is one of the first things that comes to mind for me.
So what about, Mr. Gardner, I'm sorry. What about maybe like twice a week during electives? Some of those bubble kids are pulled out, maybe like if we had a math specialist to where we can kind of close the gap. I know they need electives as well, so not to take the entire week from them, but maybe 2 to 3 days, and then they have an opportunity to get out of it based off of MAP. What if we do something around that with the data?
I agree with you. Interesting. So we did hire a reading specialist this year to do just that. Because our kids have an A and a B day elective, for those kids who are tier 2 and tier 3 MTSS, they will take an elective of reading, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. The state is releasing additional funds for CSI schools to be able to earn additional dollars to use how they see fit. I think it's $100,000 or something like that. If we are awarded those funds, that's exactly what I want to do, Ms. Rump, is hire a math specialist to go along with the reading and be able to do just what you said, right? So to give those kids more time with the quality teacher. So that's to be continued, but we definitely have that in motion for reading. The person's already hired, so we definitely have a reading specialist coming, reading teacher. Yeah, great ideas. Ms. Haddock, I'm writing some of these down, but are you getting them down as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right.
And
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I completely agree. On the same, I was thinking exactly what Mr. Rump stated, and maybe not quite in that same verbiage, but somehow teach to the level of the kids need to be provided an opportunity where they are retaining the information, because if they score it at one point, it seems like there's just a loss. And so I think connecting them with that specialist is going to keep that information sharp and at the forefront, so they don't lose it.
Yeah, I agree. Well, all right. Next question. What was it?
Good news. What good
Okay.
news do you celebrate?
All right. What's some of the good news, team? I think we said some of them. No good news?
Well, I see for
Well,
6th grade, we're still meeting our target.
Right.
I just love to celebrate that you guys have done, in my opinion, an incredible job considering of all the things. Yes, we want the 5%, but you know, the achievement gap is a literacy gap. So these are really strong numbers to work with for next year. And I just feel the team is dedicated to iterating. So all of the solutions about the reading specialist is like, we're coming up with solutions to even help where we are. So it's only up from here. And you did more with less, as our communities usually always do.
Mm.
I'm interested, or I think I'm a little bit more heartened by the fact that the 2022 numbers, or that our numbers have grown since 2022. And so with 2 years back in after COVID, what are we going to look like? Or how are we going to get to that next level next year and keep pushing our kids up more?
Mhm.
I think we have some
Hey,
ways
you
that
in
we
the
can grow
hallway?
more at.
Mhm. Definitely agree with that. Definitely know the future is bright. We have a lot of the right people in the right seat on the bus. We had some turnover, but we are just about 100% staffed. I think we need two teachers to be fully staffed. And you knock on wood, because it's always a balancing act from now till I think July. So you're always on your toes for that. So I'm excited about the level of talent, right, that we're bringing into the school, of teachers who will help take us to the next level, coupled with our strong veteran teachers who are on this call and the others that's in the building. We have an opportunity to continue to show growth. And that's all I can ask for, is that we continue to grow, continue to grow, continue to grow, that we don't regress. And like I think Roy just said, I mean, we're showing if MAP is a strong indicator of where we will perform, if we hit these numbers that are in the yellow. So if you look at this column that's in the yellow where it says spring, and you look at our goals, right, which is the box next where it says spring 23 goal, you know, if we, and we're just 2 percentage points, we were 2 percentage points in ELA on 8th grade. So if we hit those numbers, we will, you know, that's definitely cause to celebrate. What was the next question?
Growth opportunities.
Growth opportunities, yep. Then Ms. Rump spoke to some growth opportunities, and Ms. Triplett, where we were talking about possibly having more time through an elective class that focuses on basic level reading and math. I also heard looking at some of the practices that's happening on certain grade levels like 6th grade, and how can we expand that impact amongst the rest of the school. Starting the data talks earlier in the year. So we started that second semester, but that'll be just how we do business moving forward. Every time we have a report card or a report card or a progress report, that we're doing that data analysis. Each time we give a map, that we're doing the data analysis, and kids are setting goals and know exactly where they are all the way throughout the journey.
I think that could also take place even with classroom assessments, because that way you're building them up through the mapping. It's not just, okay, here we go, finna take the map again, gotta have this data talk. But if you're doing that throughout, I think it builds that stamina for the kids.
Absolutely. You're right. I agree. And everybody buying into it. I think, you know, one of the things that we will focus on next year too is like independent practice. Independent practice, like making sure that we stop in every classroom, and that as administrators, we're monitoring that to have students to practice. Open the lesson, you know, show them what they need to do, then let them go, so they have opportunities to practice in class. Yes.
Also, I think a part of the growth opportunities, and maybe Roy, we can talk about this, is what if the private partners, we had like a celebration week going into the test, where we just, you know, again, come up there with like massages and yoga, and we sponsor like healthy foods. Basically, we're preparing them for a competitive game. So maybe we can come up with some ideas that can get them relaxed, get them, you know, feeling confident, building them up to retain the information with less stress, with other data that we know will help create a fostering test environment. I think that's a great opportunity, Roy, for us to get people excited about our students performing well on these tests.
I agree with you, and I have 2 sponsors that are ready to be engaged that way.
Let's do
We
it.
need to get them on board as soon as possible, and I need time with the staff to do it, which I know is hard this time of year. But
I'm happy to sit with you and come up with a few proposals we can send out to just get ready for the fall. Let's just see if a lot of these other things we think may be a problem, we can be tracking this data. Like, look, when we added these extra things, how our students perform. So it's all in the data, so we can start early.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, we'll
I'll
lock
get with
some
you this
dates
week.
down before we get off this call. Let's lock some dates down and just get them. Yep. And then the last question, what trends do we see in the data? What were some of the trends that you saw?
We see that in the springtime, I would say universally, there is a dip, which again makes sense because there are a lot of things happening, a lot of things has happened, and there could be some burnout. And so again, like that springtime is probably where we put a little bit extra accelerated focus to buff up our mental gymnast to perform, and all the teachers and coaches that are teaching them. So the springtime seems like a pivotal time for testing to sort of focus on.
Any other trends? So there's a decline, pretty much a steady decline from fall to spring. Well, if you look at 7th grade here, they started out at 41, then there was a 4% decline, and then like a 6% gain from winter to spring. But in the other areas is a steady. Steady decline in the other areas. Any other trends that we see? I mean, one of the trends that I see, and then I hope is accurate, is that we are here looking to grow from our results last year, right? 8 percentage points, if this was spot on, dead accurate in math. And then I forget what it was in reading, but again, just speaks to the work, speaks to the systems and structures that are in place. All right, Ms. Ellis, let's go back. Next slide, Move forward, sorry. All right. So, okay, principals report. So, family engagement and partnership highlights. I don't have the PowerPoint up, but I do have it up on my other computer. So I just want to tell you about a couple of things that we've done that I am really proud about. So a few of the highlights from since the last time we've met, we invited, this is always a really big festive event for us where we invite all of our rising 6th graders into our school. So, that went really well this year. All of our feeder elementary schools, rising 6th graders, we were able to bring them into the school, have them take a tour, tell them all about our high school offerings, which is something I'm super, super excited about. We're one of the few middle schools in Atlanta public schools that have certified high school staff to be able to teach high school science, earth systems in 6th grade, biology in 7th grade, and physical science in 8th grade. So students will be able to earn those credits that will propel our students to take more rigorous courses in high school, more AP courses in high school, and be able to graduate and compete. So I'm really excited about that. We also will offer algebra, Spanish, and I believe PE. So some students will leave John Lewis and Victus Academy with 5 credits, which I think is 1 credit shy of being a 10th grader when they enter high school, which really puts them ahead of the game. We also had our amazing fine arts program last month. When I tell you, if you didn't see it, you missed a treat. Just the level of growth that I've seen in my 3 years here, from the first time I heard our band and our drama and dance teams perform, to what I saw this past time, students really owning their instruments, playing in tune, knowing what they're doing, knowing their lines, knowing the dance steps. Like, the level of practice and preparation is really evident. Our focus on STEAM and our Saturday school, which has ended, but there was an infusion of STEAM within Saturday school. We became a common sense school. Ms. Bright, are you still on?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you talk a little bit about the common sense school?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
It's okay. I had to turn on my light because I'm sitting in the dark. Okay. Becoming a common sense school. Basically what it does is it recognizes that John Lewis puts an importance on students being digital citizens. So we spend a number of months through the elective teachers classes, providing those students with the different lessons. And I'm so grateful to the elective teachers for taking that on. They do a wonderful job of making sure that students receive those once a month. By doing that, of course, they're taught everything from cyberbullying to how to do research, how to stay safe online, and a myriad of other things. And then also those teachers participate in professional development through Common Sense Media, which allows them to receive training on what that looks like. And our status is good for 2 years, and then we just basically reapply. And so we follow the same method every year. It's just that it's pushed through the elective teachers class.
Awesome. Really proud about that badge and our digital citizenship. We celebrated our students for reaching their goals on the MAP assessment. We visited our feeder elementary schools to engage their parents, Ms. Ellis, AP Mitchell, and that 6th grade team. And last but not least, we engaged our parents through our Sisterhood Summit, which was held down at CLL. Wraparound Services Coordinator, Coach Ms. Lori Miller, Assistant Principal Davis. We rented a big charter bus, took our parents and our students down to CLL. They had a panel of women, one who was a doctor, one who was in school to be an engineer, and the other young lady, believe, was a social worker. And they were able to ask questions and really talk to our students about strategies to cope with mental health illness, and just mental health strategies, period. So we have really, in my opinion, done a great job of engaging our families. And next year, we are already planning on how we'll do that and take that to the next level. Upcoming end of year activities. Of course, this is the busiest time of the year. We are finishing up Georgia milestones this week. So Thursday will be the last official day. We have to hit 95% participation rate, which we are looking really strong in that area. So keep doing what we're doing. We'll hit those targets. Next week, we'll start our 8th grade activities. 8th graders on Monday will go to main event and spend the day out there on Tuesday. We will have the 8th grade breakfast along with the awards ceremony or moving on ceremony, which is exclusive for our 8th graders, followed by our 6th grade award ceremony and 7th grade award ceremony. So all of those things are taking place on next week. And then the last week of school, we'll have our field days. But last year was just loads of fun, sponsored by Coach Spriggs and our PE elected teams. So that pretty much sums up the rest of this school year for us. Turn over to Ms. Rejoice.
Yes, okay. So the cluster, the Douglas Cluster Advisory Team had our last meeting, I think it was the beginning of last month, Principal Garner. And, you know, cumulatively, I'd say that a good takeaway for us to know at the Go Team is really focused on talent, really focused on supporting teachers as a top priority, and really focused on how possibly the cluster, and then for this instance, John Lewis at large, can think about hiring and retention and making sure that the teachers have the support throughout the year, whether we're talking about having that reading specialist to help support your instruction, having enough reteaching, and actually seeing best practices done before you're expected to perform at a high level teaching students. And I guess other things we talked about were some I would say extra benefits that teachers may want or need moving forward to do a great job in the classroom. And so the top priority from the Douglas cluster at large that we felt was important was hiring and teacher retention. I would say after that, there were just a lot of different schools using different programs and after school extracurricular activities to involve the parents, and also to, I would say, boost up some of the arts. There's a lot of arts and STEAM happening at some of the different schools. And so was there anything else I'm missing, Principal Garner?
No, I think you nailed it. There's been a focus all year around Tier 1 instruction as well, and then success criteria that we will continue into next year.
But just know the teachers were the highest priority, and that's very important to know.
Absolutely. Teachers are the highest priority. Okay. Ms. Triplett, did you want to talk about our new Go Team elections? I can. So here are the results from the Go Team elections. So we will welcome, I think they were invited to this meeting, but they didn't have to be here. But our new parent seat will be Miss Arlo McCree, who has a student in our school. So we're excited about Miss McCree, and Miss Franklin, Miss Stanell Franklin, who is a 6th grade math teacher here at our school, who's doing a great job for us. Dedicated to the work, will be our new staff seat. So we'll welcome them officially next year or next school year when we have our first Go Team meeting. All right. You can see the updates, the announcements. Check your emails. Starting May 1st. So you may have already gotten it, but if not, please go in and complete the Go Team satisfaction surveys and the principal feedback survey. And then if you haven't already done so, please complete your required trainings as soon as possible.
Also for the announcement, it's not pertaining to the Go Team, but the food drive.
Yes. I forgot to mention that. Family engagement. Thank you, Ms. Triplett. We had a food drive as well, where we invited our families out. But we also have next food drive, which will be, do you know the date right offhand, Ms. Triplett?
I think it's the last day, the 25th.
Let me just check my calendar.
I think it had the 25th on there.
Yes, it's the 25th.
25th. Thank you, team. Right. Last day.
At 4:30.
4:30. So please tell a friend and tell a friend, come out, get some fresh produce. I don't know if we'll have meat, but we're working on getting meat. But I tell you, the grapes, the onions, the fresh produce, tomatoes, lettuce, was good. Been good in my household. And hopefully good in yours too. In our community. This is our public comment protocol, so I won't read this to you, give you a moment to read that, and then I'll turn over back to you, Ms. Triplett.
If we do not have any additional announcement, okay, yeah, we have reached the end of our agenda. So if we don't have any further announcements, any other business to discuss, the meeting is adjourned.
Wait, I just love to say, because this is our last one,
Mhm.
you guys are doing such an amazing job. And I just really want you to know that please stay at John Lewis Invictus Academy to continue to help us to be great. It takes some time to really build something great, but you guys are doing such an amazing job, and just watching it from the outside and how much things have come together and how you just like making it work and then making everything so beautiful. Thank you so much from your private partners, and we're going to do better and work harder to support you guys.
Yep, thank you so much. I second that. Please stay.
Yes.
Third.
And there is a difference. There is a difference from the time that I started to
Yeah.
now.
It's
There's a
working.
tremendous, it's a huge difference. Huge
Yes.
difference.
We're going to keep getting better for you, Miss Triplett. We're going to keep getting better.
Yep. Okay, thank you so much, Roy. If you want to stay on real quick, man, what I know you have a partner that needs to meet with me or a representative. What I could tell you this week and next week, well, definitely not this week. Next week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday work for me. Thursday, Friday don't. And then the last week, I could get it in any day on the last week.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. All right. Any times in particular that work better?
For next week?
Yeah.
Next week, between